So one of the discussions that we were having in a previous session was concerning alignment and the alignment of a character on a Netflix show called The Witcher.
We're having that conversation again?
No, I'm referencing a previous conversation, and if people wanted to check it, that's online, right? The previous.
It's on my Twitch channel, yeah.
Okay, so that they could actually go back.
Conversation, anyways, where you start out saying you're an asshole.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's. I guess I have to deal with that.
I can respect that.
Yeah, But no, what the subject was, I had just brought up to the group, was there was an incident that happened today in the valley about a person that found some money in a couch that they had bought at a not a thrift store. Okay. We can mention it.
When you say money, are you talking about like wads of bills?
$43,000.
So clearly somebody's stash.
So a senior citizen had basically stored some money in a couch cushion, and then when the person passed away, they didn't tell the family anything about it, and so the family's following his last wishes, which is to give his stuff to Habitat for Humanity so other people could benefit from his items. Okay. This gentleman bought the couch and found it was very uncomfortable. Found out the reason it was uncomfortable is because it had money in it. When he recovered the money, found out it was $43,000. His he didn't want to just take the money. Like majority of the people that when we've heard of the issue were thinking like, "Wow, I just keep the money and you shut up." Okay. Well, he wouldn't let that happen, and he actually returned to Habitat where he bought the couch, found the people that had actually sold the couch, and gave it back. And everyone's opinion was, I don't know anybody that ever would do such a thing. So the issue this is going is about alignment.
I could have sworn we were going to do introductions first.
Oh, well, we can if we want, but
it doesn't matter.
The issue about alignment is...
Dwayne, introduce yourself.
Dwayne, this is my friend Dwayne. We've known each other for 30 years?
More than that.
Yeah, 30 years.
30 plus years.
And he's been a good friend of mine, and we're doing our podcast here. And
Dwayne, what have you been up to? What have you been checking out besides alignment-related issues?
Well, initially I was trying to relate about alignment, but if we don't want to speak about alignment...
We'll speak about it after the introductions. Tell us what you've been up to, what you've been watching, what you've been checking out.
For the last week, I've been trying to catch up on watching The Witcher, simply because not all of us have watched The Witcher. And it's a Netflix show starring the guy that plays Superman, Henry Cavill, and he is pretty good at it. And
did you finish it? Just real quick, did you finish it, or are you pretty far?
I'm episode 5.
Okay, no, but there's 8 episodes.
I'm at the point of after the wedding. Okay, which one of the aspects in The Witcher. And it's something that's slightly confusing people, but if you watch the whole show, you realize that they are doing a lot of time sequencing, where an episode that you think is chronologically after is actually before. Stuff that happened in episode 5 actually happened before episode 1. So it is slightly confusing, but it's still worth watching the show. One of the aspects we've had about The Witcher is the different society, like the Magiarchy.
Right, just tell me what you've been up to, man.
What was your?
Well, that's what I was saying. I'm talking about The Witcher.
What was your favorite flashback from The Witcher? That you mentioned they were all out of order and they were out of time, and you. So it's favorite flashback.
Favorite flashback would probably be when he's attempting to not get involved, and he finds out there's nothing but him getting involved, and he can't avoid it.
Okay, what about you, Pat?
That sounds like an
Have
episode
you
of Seinfeld.
have you seen any of it?
I have seen no Witcher. I have nothing
So
Witcher.
for me,
to-
then my favorite was when you find out his name, Geralt of Rivia, is actually not his name. It was a name that his mentor gave him, or his creator, or something. Because I don't know the lore.
So what was his name?
Did not say.
Damn it! That's the
He
same.
just
as
he
Ray
says to
Smith.
somebody, "You can't call me that." This other guy named me that because he had no feelings towards this person. So that was a cool flashback.
Damn it, Jim. Wow, that's cool.
It is cool. I would not have guessed
I had a
that.
flashback
as
about
trivia.
watching The Witcher, but I forgot to do it.
Well,
So like Alzheimer's.
About
what
the-
I've been doing.
Go ahead.
What I've been doing is I've of course been playing Atlas.
Damn you, Pat.
Playing on the A1 server, A1Atlas.com, and
Sponsor us.
yeah, on the Discord channel, on Discord, unofficial Atlas server. Atlas is a MMO pirate game by Grape Shot Studios.
Is it on Steam?
That gives me like $5. Yes, it's on. No, they didn't pay me for this. It is on Steam. Yes.
Okay, do you understand? You told me to get my Steam account back. I got it back.
Yes, and I'm waiting for the Atlas to go on sale again.
This gets back to the fact
So you really
that
you want to play it?
Pat is a
Whatever.
big fan of
Pirates?
Atlas and the pirate aspect, the MMO aspect. And a few weeks ago, Steam had a $5 special for Atlas, and Pat was asking everybody to play Atlas. And so we're waiting for the sale to come again.
Jesus, Pat, how much is Atlas?
$30.
I'll just buy Atlas and we can start streaming Atlas together.
That sounds better than this.
$30 is not that big of a deal.
Okay, $30 Atlas. I would hope because they'll probably if you watch the server load, basically it tells you how many people are playing the game at any one time, on any server.
Okay, on the server.
So, and you see it dip down and go on sale for sure because they're trying to get more people to play. This game,
We're trying to put out content, so I'm not waiting for it to go on sale.
the official supports 40,000 people.
Okay.
On
But you're not on
one-
official.
one grid. I'm on unofficial because official is sucks.
Why?
Because PVE is like you get clogged basically once everybody builds.
I've had that problem. Or
Yeah, it's clogged. It's the same as Ark. It's basically it's a reskin, if you will, of the same game.
Well, I don't know why you play PvE. I always play PvP.
I know. So PvP on the PvP server, it's cloak and dagger. So basically, what happens is your company gets scavenged, rolled up into a bigger company, and then you get to a point where you can't build a boat for yourself to float around because you've maxed out the boats for the company.
Oh, okay.
Which sucks because the whole game is about build a boat, go out, sink the boat. Well, you know, in the meantime, between this building and the sinking, there's a lot of fighting.
I remember you said something about Medusa.
There's
The Kraken.
the Kraken, there's Medusa, there's mermaids, there's nice mermaids, and there's mean mermaids.
Okay. Can you breed with them?
Not on screen that we have discovered yet.
Okay. Somehow I knew you investigated this.
Yeah, it's not like Grand Theft Auto.
Alright, anything else you've been up to?
No, not much.
I have actually been sick for more than a week, so I haven't really done anything. I haven't even been streaming on my Twitch channel, green.voicemail.com, by the way. So, this is like the first thing I'm actually sitting down and doing, and unfortunately I haven't really checked anything out for this. I think I fell asleep watching Bob's Burgers a few times, but that's not something we're going to talk about probably.
Bob's Burgers? I've seen a couple episodes.
It's actually
I've seen
pretty...
too many episodes.
I enjoy it, but I don't think we're probably talking about it on this podcast.
Yeah, I thought we were going to talk about Ren and Stimpy.
You want to talk about Ren and Stimpy and how the creator, I forget his name, but he is in charge of, I think it's Stumpco or something?
Stumpco. Yeah.
Stumpco, yeah. He turned out to be this perpetual, very disgusting little pervert guy who used his job leverage to sexually assault women, essentially, and force them into a relationship with Very disappointing because I always enjoyed the original Ren and Stimpy. I didn't watch the new one, but I figure I probably would have liked it. It always hurts, you know.
Yeah, but I mean, if you think about it, when you watch Ren and Stimpy targeting at children, you had to know that they were demented.
But was it really targeted at children?
I don't feel like
I don't say it was.
Nickelodeon.
It doesn't matter. They knew that a majority of their audience wasn't children. They were the adults or young adults, the teens that were into the cutting edge. I mean, for example, South Park.
Yeah. So.
Okay, South Park is about a group of third grade, fourth graders. However, its main audience is males 18 to 25, or maybe a little older.
Yeah, but that one played, I believe it played at 10 o'clock.
Ren and Stimpy was during the day. I remember that.
Yeah, well, originally I think it was like 7:30, 8 o'clock.
Ren and Stimpy, and then following that, SpongeBob. They're kind of cut from the the same mold as remember.
SpongeBob was more kids.
Those cards.
It's not as disgusting.
You remember the trading cards? They were the dolls that were creepy dolls.
Garbage Pail?
Garbage Pail Kids, yes. So, predating that, Garbage Pail Kids, and just the idea, the shock factor of a card that has something disgusting on it.
Okay.
And that's what they show in those shows.
Mostly, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
some of them, I think kids can still kind of
SpongeBob.
enjoy, like Space Madness. That one wasn't really super disgusting, but it was also kind of weird for a kid. That's the one where they're space cadets and Ren loses his shit. Starts eating a bar of soap. But yeah, I mean, it's always, I don't know, like people constantly talk about, can you separate the actor or the creator or something from some source that you enjoyed, earlier in your life, and it's like, man, if you can't, then you're just go out in the middle of the woods and don't connect to anything, because it's constantly coming up.
That's just it. The question is the work, is the artist a reflection of the work, or is the work a reflection of the artist? And it's
kind of hard to separate it. I mean,
yeah, but the product you consumed already.
Well,
yeah.
So
it's not the same thing as it's happening now. Oh, and it came out now, and you can choose while it's coming out. Oh, well, maybe I won't investigate that. Like this happened like in the '90s, dude.
Yeah.
Like it's already done.
But the atrocities that the guy performed
didn't come out until 2017.
Yeah.
So
well, an example is when we were talking about what we were doing this week. I was going through YouTube and I saw a video, and it kind of looked like a music video, and I hardly ever see that on YouTube. But I turned this music video on, and it was kind of a jazzy, kind of smoky jazz video, and it had these two people in the back that were talking, but they were singing the girl was singing the song of Pinky and the Brain.
Oh, okay.
And they were doing a reenactment of the actual opening song of Pinky and the Brain.
Okay.
The thing was, the two bartenders that were in the background were Pinky and the Brain's actors, voice actors.
Okay.
The thing was, I was going, wow, they got somebody that really did do a pretty good Pinky and the Brain. It's good that they got the voices, simulcast. No, those are the voice actors, because what Pat was talking about, how you focus on a particular character and the actors that are associated with it, they seem to merge into one creation. Here I am watching something about Pinky and the Brain that I had watched, had seen a lot of the episodes, and I'm looking at the voice actors, and I didn't believe that they were the real voices of Pinky and the Brain.
Oh, okay.
Because I didn't associate Pinky and the Brain to actually having voice actors.
So two guys.
These two guys were doing the voice actors of Pinky and the Brain. So I think sometimes we focus on these characters, and it's kind of hard to realize that, hey, somebody drew them, somebody voiced them, and you buy into these characters, and you have to realize that there is somebody behind it.
So take a guy like SpongeBob. How do you feel about that character as a buy-in? So you watch SpongeBob, right?
I've seen SpongeBob.
So what do you feel about SpongeBob? Well,
what is about SpongeBob? He's the eternal optimist. I mean, he has this dead-end job that he gets up every day, feeds Gary, and then goes to work with the idea that today's going to be the best day of his life, and he's going to help Mr. Crab make Krabby Patties, and he has fun.
Where's the first place he has to walk by to get to work?
Squidward's. Well, actually, Squidward owns the house right next to him.
Exactly.
And Squidward is like, what can I do to get out of this? Why is SpongeBob so annoyingly
optimistic? Everything's gonna fail today.
Where everything that Squidward does, the best laid plans always fail. And it's only when he compares himself, which he thinks he's superior to SpongeBob, but he compares himself and his success
to his cousin.
Yeah, which is always going to be better. Until SpongeBob in some of the episodes actually comes out and shows him that he still he's worth it, even comparing himself to his brother. But
his brother's name is Milton, I think.
I don't know enough to say that.
I know SpongeBob mainly through memes. I know he lives in a pineapple under the sea.
Yeah.
Okay,
and his best friend is Patrick the Starfish.
And he works at...
I know, some crab shack or something.
No, it starts with a C.
Okay.
Krusty Krab.
Yeah.
Works at the Krusty Krab, and then his
Mr. Krab's nemesis is Plankton.
And then he works at
Chum Bucket.
Chum Bucket, yeah.
Do you know what a Krabby Patty is in real life?
It's a crab cake.
I got him here.
Krabby Patty? I thought it's that fake crab stuff.
Surimi?
Nope, it's a hamburger.
Oh, it's a hamburger?
Just a hamburger. That's it. Hamburger.
There are no cows.
Sea cow? I don't know.
But see, the thing is...
There's no air either.
Yeah.
So, they're like flipping burgers and cooking them in the water. So...
Yeah.
Yeah, if I don't know what the source is, but that's the word around the street. Krabby Patties and hamburger.
Okay, where were you going with the SpongeBob talk?
He brought it up.
No, I brought up Pinky and the Brain.
No, you brought up SpongeBob and how you...
No, you asked about how you feel about SpongeBob.
Yeah, dude, but that was because he was going on about SpongeBob.
He was,
and so he said that you had to relate to the characters, and I said, well, which character
I was talking Pinky and the Brain.
No, we can roll.
Anyway, so let's go.
You guys make me honest, okay? And put it in the comments below, right?
Whichever way this started, where are we going to with the end? Like, we were talking about, the creator and being a monstrosity versus something from the past that you liked, and then we started talking about something else.
That was Ren and Stimpy, though.
Is there some kind of problem with SpongeBob that I don't know of?
No.
Well, they say about, I don't know. Yeah.
They say about what?
Well, the Patrick.
What are the rumors, Pat? You're the
Patrick
character.
I don't know. They said that Patrick was gay. I don't know.
Who cares if he's gay?
I didn't say that.
What's wrong with him being
I
gay?
didn't say there was anything wrong. I didn't say there was anything wrong with it. Did I say there was anything wrong with it?
What the hell's wrong with being gay, Pat?
There is absolutely nothing wrong with being gay, and I will walk a rainbow to prove it.
So,
but that's just, one of those, well, okay. Do you want to talk about SpongeBob?
I don't have a lot to say, but
The,
sure.
the aspect about why
Bikini Bottom. We're talking about Bikini Bottom, right?
The espresso chain?
No, Bikini Bottom. Do you know where I'm going?
that's the town.
Yes. Do you know where it is?
So at the bottom of Bikini?
It's at the Bikini Atoll, and that is where the U.S. Navy practiced lighting off nuclear weapons.
Okay.
So the theory is that SpongeBob is actually, their whole ecosystem is a result of radiation.
Okay. What's wrong with that?
I don't know. I guess it makes you gay.
But they were
They're all gay because they're radioactive?
Well, I don't know. No, so they're all mutants basically,
Even the squirrel?
especially the squirrel.
Okay.
Especially the squirrel, because she can breathe underwater.
no, she
What? No,
doesn't.
she has a little.
No, she has to live in a confined area that has air in it.
That was a trick. I tricked you guys. I knew that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, sure you do.
Just like when SpongeBob goes up top, he has to have a bowl on his head with water.
Unless David Hasselhoff's there to save him.
He can ride his butt on the way back to the,
Yeah.
I love the movie.
That brings a whole bunch of stuff. But no, the question is sometimes the shows are presented in one aspect for one audience, but they are given depth of either character, story, so that multiple age groups can enjoy them for different reasons. The plots, as an adult, you can see it as a little more in depth, like you're talking Bikini Isle, the radiation, the vinyl. They don't care when the kid who's watching SpongeBob. They just like the songs and they like the colors. And when SpongeBob is out going jellyfish hunting, that's what they're focusing on. Whereas in that episode with when SpongeBob is hunting jellyfish to make that special type of jam, it actually is. You could see it as an inexhaustible resource that is talking about conservation. Because when Mr. Crab,
Make it exhaustible then?
yeah, it becomes exhaustible.
Every time that SpongeBob goes jellyfish hunting, he gets stung.
That makes
What
it
is that? What does
exhaustible.
that represent, though?
What does it represent?
Well, yeah. He was talking about jellyfish hunting and making jelly, and that represented
Finite resources?
Yeah, finite resources and conservation. But then that means if he's getting stung, then he's obviously doing something wrong in that respect, right? Because he's
Well, if you're gonna say an like causality, and that every action has an equal and opposite reaction, or there's a cost for consuming resources beyond their capability, I can see that.
Okay.
But it's like these different, different cartoons. Like one of the first cartoons that I really had to say that I thought were not meant for kids, but
Popeye.
no, The Adventures of Johnny Quest.
Really? I remember
The original, not the 1990s animated one that they did with the high-tech special effects and stuff.
Yeah, that's the one I know.
No, if you go back to the 1960s version, I think it was first 3 or 4 years, Johnny Quest was actually it's an adult cartoon, which at the time the only places that had like the big adult cartoons were either Japan, which had manga, which actually had cartoons in the evening. Okay. Or like France in Europe which actually had other people working on. That's like the guy that wrote Valerian, which is the Luc Besson sci-fi movie that's a really good movie. Go see it, but it kind of tanked. It kind of tanked in the theaters.
Okay.
He based it on a 1960s French comic book.
Cool.
Okay, and he had been from being a new director. He had been trying to get Valerian made all through his life until he got successful enough to say, well, if nobody wants to make it, I'm going to fund it and I'm going to make it.
Okay.
And so, but it had its own niche that people that liked those kind of French cartoons were into it. Where in the United States, I mean, the only cartoon that was really well known that was in the evening was the Flintstones. Like the Flintstones were one of the first.
Ding ding. You changed subjects, so therefore this is for the special Stump Dwayne hour.
Okay.
No,
Yeah, because you changed subjects in the middle of your whole story. You went to the Flintstones, so stop. Question.
Okay, whatever.
There was a show I used to watch when I was a kid. It was Japanese space show, and these guys were all stuck in it looked like a destroyer traveling through space.
Battlecruiser Yamamoto.
And is that the name of the show? That's the name of the show.
Battlecruiser
Did they go
Yamamoto.
through time?
It goes through space.
It's going to Iskandar to get the cure.
Yeah, it was Japanese. And that's considered anime, right?
That's considered manga.
Manga. Okay.
No.
Yeah.
Was it animated? Was it on TV or was it in a book?
Yes.
Okay, if it's on TV, that's anime. If it's in a book, in a comic form, that's manga.
Oh, okay. Okay.
But when it was getting translated a lot early up, even in the UK, I think
Became Star Wars.
It's still confused as manga because some of the forerunners actually took that in their company name, like they just call themselves manga. So people think, like in the UK, for example, they think anime as manga because
So anime is basically short for anime.
yes,
Yeah, because manga, and that's what's interesting. I don't see it transferring to American audiences. There are what do they call those things? Capsule hotels in Japan.
oh yeah, where it's just like a cot and you go,
Yeah.
go to like a spaceship.
Well, one of the benefits is if you stay at certain of these places, and this is in Tokyo, Osaka, so there's a name. They have like these sub districts in Tokyo.
Okay.
But one of the aspects is you can basically go into their lounge, and in the lounge, we would have like books, game books, we have sport, car and driver, we have all these different things. This place had nothing but manga.
That was probably Roppongi Hills or Akihabara.
Yeah.
That's the nerd area.
So here is all these books that are nothing but Japanese manga graphic novels. I can't see that being accepted in the US, but in Japan, it's a commonplace thing that this place would have a library of manga books. And I'm watching this video of this guy that goes all around Japan, and he basically comments that people will go in there after they take their shower and they have their food. They'll go into the lounge and sit there and read manga books.
Okay.
Which is, I guess, similar.
To do with the Flintstones.
So this.
Well, no, he interrupted the Flintstones.
Yes, Flintstones. You won. You won that round.
Okay.
So,
The Flintstones was the first United States primetime television
you
series.
changed the subject.
No, I brought it back to the same subject you interrupted.
No, I'm not ready to stump you.
No,
It's okay.
you basically interrupted what I was trying to say, and he asked
About
what was about the Flintstones, and I was trying to answer the question.
Okay. You may proceed.
In Japan, anime, and since you corrected me and said about manga being the novelized form,
Yeah.
in the United States, the subject that Pat had brought up about Battlecruiser Yamato or Star Blazers for the American audience, Japan sees anime as just as viable as any sitcom, rom-com that the United States puts together.
Well, they do now, and it took a while for their culture to accept that as part of their nationwide identity. Like, that's only something that really started becoming socially acceptable the last 10 years. Before, if you were into that stuff or you're a nerd, their society is more conservative as ours. Yeah, they would be like, this was explained to me on another podcast like years ago. So like you have two nerd guys, you run into each other, just happen to notice like, I don't know, like they're wearing similar shirts or something about something they like. And they're like, oh, guy number one's like, oh, you like that, right? And they incrementally see how much more the guy they're talking to is into that same subject. This is how they used to be. Like, it's something you're kind of closeted about, but now they don't give a fuck. But like you're talking about before 2010, I would say it was like that. That was something that they didn't really, embrace as a culture. That was something afterwards, I would say after 2010, they're just like, fuck it, that's part of being Japanese.
Well, you see, what's kind of odd is the United States is a very adaptable culture. And what I mean by adaptable is if they like something, they're going to take it.
Yeah.
And when they looked at, and this is like late 60s, all right? This is like Aquaman, Marine Boy, Get Tiger came out after Speed Racer. It was about a secret agent group that all drove sports cars like Speed Racer did, but they could merge all the cars together to make a supercar. Okay.
Like Megatron.
No, like
Voltron.
Yeah.
Like Voltron. This is way before Voltron. This is back about 68, 69. This is when you look at all these Captain Harlock, you look at Battlecruiser Yamato, you look at Megazone 23, you look at Crusher Joe, all these shows that are in late 60s, 70s, and you look at, well, what is the United States making? We're making Frankenstein Jr. We're making, we had one good, we had Space Ghost.
Space Ghost.
Like
You're talking about not Coast to Coast, but like the actual Hanna-Barbera.
The actual Hanna-Barbera. I mean, and then you're viewing things like Squiddly Widdly, that the one when the octopus is living in the
Pineapple under the sea.
no, it's living in the aquarium. The aquarium.
Yeah, I remember that. Squiddly
Okay.
Diddly.
Yeah.
What was the name of the show, though?
So Squiddly was his name.
Yeah, but was that?
That was a Hanna-Barbera one. But
I guess it was.
C-Lab 2021.
That was the name.
seen it.
Yeah, I've
But-
seen the original.
I liked Huckleberry Hound.
Yeah.
Remember Huckleberry Hound?
What about Snagglepuss?
Or George.
Was that for adults?
George the dog.
George the dog? Who's that?
George the dog. It's in a very old Hanna-Barbera, I
Yeah.
believe. He says, he's George, and he says, oh, I had a friend and I petted him and petted him and petted him, but he don't.
Oh, that's no, that's Mice and Men Steinbeck.
He don't move no more.
Steinbeck. But no.
But it was a dog.
What? No. They might just be adapting from Steinbeck.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah.
But no, the issue I was talking about, where I was trying to get to, is the fact that the United States adapts what it sees and it likes, and.
Are you trying to say that's why Western comics have transitioned to movies so well now?
Correct.
Okay, so that was not that hard to say. You know how easy that was for me to say.
But the thing is, the Japanese audience, they see. I thought that the Japanese have always been open about their fascination with anime. Because, I mean, I used to have to go to a place in Japantown, over on 4th and Taylor in San Jose.
But that's America, Japantown. That's not Japantown in Japan, is it?
No, Japantown in San Jose.
Yeah, so that's in America.
In America. So I had to go to Japantown, which was a neighborhood in San Jose, because they had one dealer of videos.
Bootlegs?
Yes, mostly bootlegs. But there was a place in San Francisco, but it was too far for me to go. So I would go to this place in Japantown, and I could get new videos that were old as crap.
On Laserdisc?
No, these were on video, all on videotape, because
I'm impressed.
huh?
I'm impressed that they're on videotape.
Well, they had to be on videotape because at the time nothing was out. Because it's also videotape is a cheap format.
That was right before your Laserdisc.
Laserdisc never really hit into the anime market because it is a more expensive format, and when you're trying to do a retail business,
Just dump it all out over here.
you want cheap.
There we go. There we go. Candy. Now I can quit playing with this piece of leather.
So
I can put this on my finger. Oh, it hurts.
Okay.
so that's just basically. I'm just kind of. I was able to.
Well, the biggest thing I'm picking up from this is you went to a Japanese neighborhood in America, and your impression was, "Oh, this is what it's like in Japan." But these guys
For anime.
But these guys are American. Is my point.
No, they were Japanese.
No, dude. They are living in America. Even if they immigrated from Japan, living in America, they are Americans now. That's how the Japanese mindset is. It's very divisive.
Oh, I understand. Okay. I'll agree that. But what I'm saying is that the introduction of Japanese anime in the United States, the United States has always lagged behind
It has, yeah.
the anime. Now, one of the things that I saw before concerning why the Japanese drew their characters the way they do in anime was about the same time, the homage to Disney.
Yeah, and Disney, yeah.
That they basically drew the faces and the caricatures that as a homage to Disney, which they saw as being like, well, he knows what he's doing, we better copy it, and then they actually took it farther than we have, because we didn't see, even though Disney had all their different movies, they were still thought, okay, yeah, that's a kid's movie. These are for kids. So it never jumped to a more serious format. So when we couldn't see anything out there in the American audience that was anything cutting edge. So you had to go to bootleg versions of Japanese anime, the same thing happened with the Chinese kung fu.
Oh yeah. You had schlocky, blaxploitation stuff in America.
Bruce Lee?
Bruce Lee wasn't doing great, but he was
Sonny
trying.
Chiba.
Sonny Chiba was
Jackie Chan?
Jackie Chan, same thing. Depending on what decade you're talking about, but you're talking about like before, I want to say mid to late 80s, yeah.
Kurosawa.
Not great. Kurosawa didn't do martial arts stuff. He did traditional, super big Japanese style.
Seven Samurai.
I got one.
Yes.
David Carradine.
Well, I love David Carradine.
That's the big stinking martial art movies, because David Carradine did kung fu, but the person that was picked originally to do kung fu was Bruce Lee.
Yeah, it wasn't just picked. He made the story, and he was supposed to be the one in it because he made the story. And they stole his idea.
Because
Because it's not white. I mean, I don't know.
Because he's not white. Because he was going to have to appear into an American audience, and at the time, a Japanese lead or an Asian lead was not seen as being viable because of the money.
So then they got Chuck Norris.
Oh God, Chuck Norris. Okay,
You better watch what you say, because he might be listening.
what was his name, and what was the first movie that Chuck Norris starred with Bruce Lee in?
I thought he was in the one where they find the Coliseum. What is
Enter
that?
the
Chinese Connection.
Octagon. It wasn't Enter the Octagon?
No, Chinese Connection. You're talking about the Octagon was after Chuck Norris has started doing like Good Men Wear Black.
Well, that was one of the famous movies that I remember.
Yeah, and why was the good guys wear black is because of the villain.
Or white?
No,
They were black, of course.
no.
Oh, what?
No, the guy that's
You guys wear black.
after Bruce Lee kicks Chuck Norris's butt
Yeah.
in the Chinese Connection,
Okay.
they recognized that Chuck Norris had a certain quality to do in the karate movies, which was a fledgling industry at the time. So they brought him out and had him go against the guy that only fought with his left leg. Karate in the karate movie. He was the villain.
That was Karate Kid?
No, not Karate Kid.
Because
No, it's the guy in
the crane.
No, that's Ralph Macchio from.
Mr. Miyagi?
No. No, you're talking about.
Sweep the leg guy?
No, that's Karate Kid. No,
If they ever wanted to recast a young Mr. Miyagi, I would recommend you. And with all due respect.
I mean, I take it, but who's going to do that?
no.
Be the Karate Kid.
But the idea of on the anime.
The story of Mr. Miyagi. Never been done.
Okay.
You could actually do that as a
Short.
Dwayne, did you just change subjects?
huh?
You just changed
You guys change subjects.
No, this is a better way.
Okay, so back to the original thing about the character in Witcher that you wanted to talk about the alignment.
Okay. Before we
Let's go
said
back to
no,
that.
introduce
Before
yourself.
we cut you off.
Yeah.
That was what you really wanted to talk about.
No, it's just an aspect.
No, it's what you really wanted to talk about, so we're going to talk about it now.
Yes. So gather your thoughts. gather your thoughts. I mean, we all agreed on the Stump Dwayne thing. If we had all agreed on Stump
What are we trying
Jeff or Stump Pat, then
What are we trying to do though exactly here, Pat? What are you trying to stump him with?
to come up with something that he doesn't know
That he doesn't know
within his.
about Witcher?
No, not about Witcher. About anything. Like anything. I'm just being nice so far.
Oh, you're being nice. Okay.
Go ahead, hit me up.
Okay.
I mean, I know there's a shitload of stuff that I don't know that you know, for sure. It's like I like to tell people, I say, Sonny, I know I have forgotten more than you'll ever know.
Okay. What are you trying to say about The Witcher anyway?
No, I want to just talking about The Witcher is about the idea of alignment and our discussion we had talked about the magiarchy.
All right, but we already did that. So who are you trying to talk about now?
Well, I was getting on the subject when I originally had discussed about the person that returned all the money,
Yes.
and
They're lawful good, obviously.
you would assume that person's lawful good for that good
At
reason.
least lawful neutral.
Yeah, but the thing is, it was an impression that I saw when we're watching the news article at work, and we saw it on TV, and I said, "Wow, that is really nice." I don't know if I would automatically do the same thing but I hope that I would.
How does this tie into the Witcher?
So they find $42,000 in an old sofa, and then you go to the cops the next day and you say, "Look, I found $20,000 in the old sofa."
No. What I'm getting at is that the impression of what you think would be common sense for people to do because of the rightfulness of the action.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't come across when I'm seeing what this guy did, which I think is a lawful good thing to do.
Okay.
It was a nice thing.
Okay.
And all the people that I'm basically at work with say the guy's stupid for giving the money back. I would take the money and not say a word.
So what alignment do you think that guy is?
I'm still confused how this is tied into The Witcher.
It's not.
It is because you sent an article saying The Witcher, lawful evil alignment. You raised the question.
Is this the one that makes the batteries out of the human beings?
Yes.
Dude, I remember that.
I don't want to talk about that again.
But I'm
feeling informed.
No, you're.
Are you trying to say specifically?
I'm
Are trying to add on to the discussion? Does an act specifically make you, or is an act specifically a specific alignment, or is it the reason behind it? Is that
what I'm saying is because we had that discussion about alignment. I'm sitting there watching an incident that happened in the real world.
Okay, so it's only because of the discussion we had, in other words.
Correct, and not bringing up that issue.
Completely related.
But the fact that here are people.
Damn it, Dwayne! Hard Dragons aliens!
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So basically, but the guy that said that, let's say that he was going to think about going out and getting hookers and below. Okay. And if he says, I'm going to steal the money. Right, it's not my money. It is his money.
It is legally his money.
He found the money, whatever.
Because the money was given.
He bought it. He bought the money.
He bought the sofa which had the money in. But no, it was just the.
So he goes out and he says instead of let's say that it actually had the name and address of the
which it did.
Okay, it did.
So it did.
So it did. So he knew whose it was. He knew it wasn't his. And he says, I'm going to take the money and blow it on myself. What alignment is he?
Yeah?
That's pretty straightforward. Neutral.
Chaotic neutral.
I don't think it's evil.
Why would it not be evil in your words? Because he
doesn't know he's hurting anybody. So there's no downside. It has to do with the mindset of what's the downside.
If it was chaotic evil, he wouldn't give a shit if it is hurting anybody.
If it is chaotic evil, you're very specifically doing it to harm people.
Yes, exactly.
So, neutral evil to me is selfish. You're thinking about yourself. You don't really care about any other alternatives or ultimate goals. You just want to live in the moment for yourself. And benefit yourself, even if it's screwing over somebody else. Although it's not important that it does. It's just if it does, whatever.
He could fall into that category. I kind of, now that you explain it that way, I'm leaning more towards that because on the chaotic side, it is not.
Chaotic, he would have tried to make like a nerve agent or something.
Well, he's defying the law. He's in defiance of the law.
Is he? We just explained how he possesses this. He bought it. He legally has it.
So he could be true neutral then.
No, because then you would be seeking balance.
The balance is that he got the money.
No, that's not how that works. There's a balance on the card scale.
Then what would he have to do? Give away everything he gets?
Well, maybe if he felt like that was going to try to make things more balanced.
So if he
overall,
that's the question: is balance for what? Because even druids have their own agenda.
Yes.
So it's not like you're looking for balance in the planes of hell. You're looking for balance in the planes that are before you.
Well, I suppose it's ultimately up to this individual who we have not defined very well.
Well, this individual,
he met him at where was he at?
At a work site.
Okay.
There is the impression this person. It seemed to me was like, if I have the chance to benefit from something and it's legally mine to possess, I'm going to think of myself or my family first before I think of strangers that just gave the money away, even if it was unknown.
Oh, that sounds more like that's neutral good or lawful neutral to me.
So there was a dude, okay, this older guy, like in his 70s, and he turned to robbing banks because he needed a medical procedure to save his own life.
Okay.
So he's robbing banks, and so he didn't kill anybody. He's just robbing banks, and he got caught because he wasn't a very efficient thief.
Okay.
What alignment?
Yeah, that sounds pretty neutral evil to me.
I know, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Why? Because he did it to benefit himself. But what if he had a reason though? Like he worked at the bank and the bank took away his medical insurance. Then what is it? Because so you
That's still neutral evil to me.
yeah. So if the logic being that is it.
It would be more, it'd have a tendency of chaotic tendencies.
I'm trying to
No,
to
because
separate.
otherwise you would be actively trying to create chaos. That's like a big part of his goal.
Well, you don't have to create the chaos. You don't have to create the chaos in.
Dude, it's in the name. You're chaotic.
Chaos is just like impulsive, not necessarily.
So in other words, he doesn't have a real reason for doing this, like you're saying, to pay for his medical bills. He's just doing it to do it.
No,
he does. So
he's striking back against the man for taking his health insurance that he earned, and law and society isn't helping him. So he's going to do whatever it takes.
Chaotic evil.
No, because he's not trying to
not over
gain.
here. Not over here, chaotic evil, but somewhere.
There is no.
Here, there is. You have to have that because otherwise it's too black and white. So
that's why you have neutral evil is one of the more harmful evils.
You're chaotic neutral. Everybody, you can do anything you want, basically. Chaotic neutral. I can do anything I want. I'm chaotic neutral. I don't care.
That's the old school chaotic neutral.
Yeah, exactly.
But no, what I'm just getting at is the fact that it was sad to see some people that were so just focused upon themselves that they would take the money. You don't know. This money might have was going to be given back to the family to help some in need, or this was the money that he was saving to help his grandchildren go to college, and you're basically benefiting from their loss of future. And just the fact that not just that they would take it and not care about it, but they wouldn't even stop to think about it. That the implications of what they're doing is wrong. That was the sad point of the discussion, is that the masses were so self-centered into just thinking about themselves, in this situation. But then I stopped and I thought to myself, what would I do in that situation?
What would you do?
I would hope that I would do the exact same thing as the person. But, I was thinking, and I had only one person that brought it up, that they should return the money, but that the person that you're returning the money to should give you a reward.
But that's not in your control.
Yeah, that's chaotic.
Correct. But the thing was, and I kind of thought,
I feel more like lawful neutral.
No, saying you ain't getting the money back unless I get a reward.
It's going and giving the money to them. But you would think, because the person didn't have the money, wasn't going to get the money, and you were nice enough to return it, as what was right, and you can't even expect that that person would turn around and do what's right and give you a portion.
Well, hold on. Why is that right?
Yeah.
The expectation.
What makes that right?
Yeah, because you're stealing food from their mouth when they do that.
The expectation.
Well, you did him a favor. So what you're saying is that
If you do a favor, you're supposed to get something.
by returning his money, you did him a favor and he owes you money.
No, it's not. It isn't their. It wasn't their money. It was the grandfather. It was the grandfather's money.
He died.
But he had died,
But
and he had not put into any kind of law or agreement. But what I'm saying is that the general feeling of the masses is that an act of kindness is rewarded.
Well, it's a lie.
Yeah.
No,
It's just like the good guy always wins. And I mean, it is, okay, it's not always a lie, but it's not always the truth.
Sadly, yes.
That's the unfortunate truth, though. It's not a given, basically.
So that's just the issue that I had was it made me feel sad for the general well-being of the society, where a majority of the people's first thought was, how can I take advantage of this and steal this away from someone without even a thought?
That's our culture nowadays.
You know?
Yeah.
But is it our culture because we
accident?
don't try to reinforce what should be the culture?
Yeah, absolutely. That's what it is. Yeah, of course that's what it is. It's ingrained. It's ingrained in not just culture in general. It's ingrained in individual cultures within the culture.
So here's an example. There was a news story on the news about Delta Airlines that was basically going in LA and it was flying to Shanghai. One thing you have to do to fly all the way to Shanghai is you have to load up plenty of fuel. So this plane was launching out of LAX, I believe it was LAX, going to Shanghai, and then all of a sudden it had a major issue, which meant it had engine issues and it had to go back. The problem is when an airliner that's going on a long distance flight, they load up a lot of fuel. Now when it's taking off, it can launch with that amount of fuel. But when it's landing, it can't have more than a certain percentage of weight left.
It's a hazard.
Or it'll crash. So what they normally do is if they're approaching an airport and they have an excess amount of fuel, they will go over an area which is not occupied and they will dump fuel. Well, in this case, they didn't have the time. They were having problems. They had to get back to the airport, so they came over LA and they had an emergency and they dumped fuel.
Okay.
The first thing is they dumped fuel over 2 or 3 of these schools that were there. They were not high enough
For it to evaporate.
To completely evaporate. So what happened was that people actually felt the vapor upon them. Some people had to they went to the hospital due to the fact of breathing, or they thought it was contamination. But see, everyone that was talking there was saying, oh, Delta's gotta be in trouble because my kids, and they had an interview with these little kids. They don't know what's going on. All they know is that maybe they have a little irritation, and now they're automatically going, oh,
something bad happened.
We got a lawsuit. Oh, I felt sick. Oh, I couldn't. It's like they're socially trained
to try to get what they can.
Correct.
Whenever they can.
And in any situation,
I agree to you absolutely in that respect. That definitely there's lawsuit crazy. It's like it's not about I was walking and I tripped, and therefore it has to be somebody's fault because it's definitely not my fault.
Yeah.
And
So-
if it's somebody else's fault, then
They should pay you for it.
pay you.
Yeah.
And then they shouldn't pay me just for my stubbed toe and my pain and injuries.
Which that actually to me is like, you know what, that's fair. But it's
Yeah.
more like
Yeah, I want to
the
be
hospital
paid
bill
for,
is like,
I was going to be a ballerina, man.
oh yeah.
I was going to be a ballerina and I stubbed my freaking toe and I was going to make $30 million as a ballerina, and now I can't because my toe hurts.
But
And
the
you know,
but the aspect is that
Oh,
in the midst of all this, you have a dad who's picking up his kid,
Alright.
and he
covered
says,
with jet fuel.
who's got jet fuel on? You can smell it.
Just saying.
And he's basically saying, I don't know what the issue is. The plane had an emergency. It couldn't go away. It had to jump the fuel. We're going to take him, get him cleaned up, see if the doctor says everything's okay. It's over.
Yeah, okay,
he didn't
care.
Yeah.
He didn't care, and that's okay. That's your prerogative not to care. But if you're covered in jet fuel because some dumbass is taking off, okay. So one thing is this: LA was facing south, right?
Oh, that's
and the
right.
plane was flying south, and then had to turn back to the airport. When he had the problem, he told now this is only what I know, is that he told the tower that he needed to turn back and dump fuel. And as far as I know, at that time he was over water and he could have done it. But he said no, he wasn't gonna dump the fuel. And then turned around.
I did not hear that.
And then turned around and then dumped the fuel. So
He couldn't get high enough.
If he was still over the water, you know, and he could have turned left instead of right, for example. I don't know much about air traffic.
It's all about the glide patterns and
Yeah, so it may not have been possible, even in an emergency, but he delayed dumping when they told him to dump. So
See, but that information I didn't have. I don't
know for a fact that he was still over water when they told him to dump either.
I'm going on the information that, and I think it's because of we're a suing culture, and it was refreshing to hear this father say, "Hey, yeah, he's not feeling well. We're gonna get him cleaned up, but everything's gonna be okay." As if like these people are just trying to monopolize.
If the kid's not injured, yeah, I agree with you. If the kid is not injured, then there should be no cause for.
But it was at the same time, the media was there. Yeah. Oh, poor kids! Yeah. Oh, how's this tragic?
Nobody light a match.
Yeah, but see, the thing is, it's a kid. The media has a way of trying to sensationalize everything.
Yeah, that's their job.
You know, no, their job is to report the news.
That's over with. I can't say that more emphatically enough. The media's job is to make money through advertising.
Sure.
That's just it. It's over. It's freaking over. Yeah. The news, there is no real news. Everything you hear, I mean, I turn on online, Yahoo, CNN, MSNBC, it's all the same. It's clickbait, it's ads, it's either feel-good stories or feel-bad stories. There's rebranded stories. They'll take one story and just rebrand it and give you a different heading and trick you into clicking on it 100 times, and to get advertising revenue.
I think I might need to eat something besides candy because I'm having pains here.
Yeah, he's got some.
Harold kept trying to feed me something. What do you guys have?
In the fridge, there's a plate of sandwiches. If you want to just bring them out,
Okay.
and we'll just eat them all. So yeah, I mean, I think news, as we know it, is freaking dead. And it's sad because there are good people that want to get the stories out, but those people are smashed with their they're smashed.
Okay.
Like the Harvey Weinstein story.
What dainty little
Smashed.
sandwich?
That could have came out, 10 years ago, but it was killed.
Was this intended for tomorrow's game?
No, no.
Is this why you wanted to do this here? Because I actually bought stuff for when we podcast.
No.
Like I got wings, I got chicken tenders, and then I had checks and things. Yeah, well, thank you. Hopefully this helps some of my stuff.
I think it will. Yeah, so.
I gotta warm it up. I don't know very cold. I don't be cold.
Huh?
The cold cut.
That's cold. I'm a hot food eater.
Really? Like you don't have ice cream?
No, I'm just saying I prefer my sandwiches hot.
You don't eat cold pizza?
I have, but I don't normally.
You don't enjoy it?
Me neither.
Where's your light?
Are you threatening me?
On the wall there.
No, that's not it.
What's going I'm gonna look really fast till I can find the switch.
He found it.
What it did? I guess it really is all the way over there.
So yeah, then there's Jeffrey Epstein. You want to talk about the tip of the iceberg. If Jeffrey Epstein had flipped, there would have been a revelation. Because that dude had an airplane they called the Lolita Express. And it was known as that.
Oh man, this not going yet.
And he had a private island, and I think they should be digging on that island because.
And this actually brings Pat back to his original, to the original subject of the guy who does Ren and Stimpy, because one of the articles that he had was the fact that he drew a character that was very buxom and nice legs, and one of the
I feel like you've done that several times. But
now one of the actors who was looking.
Damn it, Pat! We are trying to do a podcast right now.
What did we do? Did we succeed?
No, your ice was fucking everything. What were you saying, Dwayne?
What I was saying. Did I get some? No. What I was saying was that one of the telling comments that was in that article that you passed on was the fact when he told the guy that, yeah, in addition to him being a really well-buxomed, well-legged woman, she was also underage.
Okay.
Well, no, what do you mean underage? It's a cartoon drawing.
Oh, like he came out and said that about the character.
Yes.
Yeah. It was weird.
And it was like,
It was very odd.
why do you bring that up? Well, the reason he's bringing it up is because that's his prerogative and preferred,
Yeah.
So they had a surveillance of Epstein's house, and 2 days before the FBI got there, they had a video of computer systems, electronics sitting around inside the house.
Okay.
When the FBI raided, they had video of that, and none of that equipment was there. It was gone.
Interesting.
So, you told me there ain't a cover-up? I said, the Russians got it. You're allowed. You want to. But Russians got Epstein. No, I don't think it's Russian. Okay.
What?
Might not have been Russian.
Wasn't he? Well, hold on a second. So he was like, he was about the child sex ring thing with the millionaires or whatever. What-
connection to Prince Albert. Prince Andrew, sorry, Prince Andrew.
How do the Russians fit into this in your mind?
No, he's just.
It's fucking one of those.
Oh, to Trump.
To Trump.
I don't know. Well, I don't know. We'll never know. Oh, sorry. We'll never know now because, and I am threatening you with this piece of skin or something.
It's a croissant flake.
Oh, that's where it came from. I thought it was stealing again.
No, dude, really?
Good little sandwiches, man.
Yeah, I don't know if we'll ever know.
They're cold.
I mean, there are other people within his orbit that could talk, but they won't
Yeah.
because they don't want to die.
Okay.
Going, the other guy that got caught, the movie producer, Weinstein.
What about?
Basically, when you saw him a couple months ago, and he's just walking to his preliminary, trial. He's just walking with the rest of people. Last time that they showed him going to his trial, he has a walker and has people helping him walk up. And I'm wondering how much of that is that he does have some issue, or maybe they're just trying to make him look so pathetic that
You're getting sympathy from the jury.
yeah.
It's probably that. It's staged. The whole lot's staged. When we live in California. Oh, we're podcasting from California. Tracy, California. In
You
California.
can see Tracy Gamers Club. I mean, obviously, we don't just talk about games, as you can see.
When there is nobody in the group called Tracy either. That would also be a secondary clue.
What?
Tracy Gamers Club. Tracy.
Tracy's a feminine name.
Could be.
No, it's not.
Can be a feminine
It's
name.
a man's name.
It
Yeah,
doesn't have
okay.
an I in the end. Okay, so basically, California's decided
So you mean all
that,
females have to have an ID at the end?
that there's no purpose to a monetary bail in California because it just discriminates against people that have no money.
But doesn't the law in general do that?
Well, not anymore. Not in California.
Really? You
No.
don't think
No.
homelessness being a crime doesn't discriminate against the impoverished?
Well,
You don't
being
think
homeless isn't a crime. It's just
vagrancy's not a crime?
no, that being homeless is not a crime. But that's a very veiled statement because anywhere that you are homeless is a crime.
Yeah.
Go to Stockton, go to Sacramento, and it's just.
It's not that far away. I mean, there's like Oakland if you ride BART. Yeah, ride BART.
Yeah. The only thing it's the impression that
The Embarcadero.
they're being too coddled. They have that on the
Homeless?
correct. They're being coddled, and here's one example. They had it on. They had an example on the news. They have people that are riding the buses to the airport and the subway to the airport because it's dry. They're not out in the weather, and then when it gets to the airport and they're there around 1 or 2 in the morning, the county is paying a bus token to get them back to leave to get back to the wherever they came from. So we're paying for this movement of the homeless because of the weather.
There's a few homeless people that live on BART, basically, because
They just keep writing it.
that's right. You paid your money to get on the BART, whatever it is.
But until you leave it,
But yeah, so there's a few people that actually panhandle, and I have, if you're down on your luck, I have no problem helping out.
unless
I'm down on your luck. Right.
if you're down on your luck, correct.
If you're down on your luck. So I had the point. I was in the BART train, and there was this guy, and he was pathetic. He was obviously strung out. He was middle, maybe 20, late 20s. And he was completely pathetic. And he's like, man, he says, I really need some money. Need some money because I'm down on my luck and need to eat tonight and need some place to stay. I'm gonna pull out my wallet, look in there. My last $5. My last $5. I'm like, well, he looked like he was, so fuck it, give him the money.
Okay.
I'm gonna spend it on booze and
No,
alcohol.
you don't love this. So he goes over and asks everybody else in the car, and then he goes and sits down. He reaches into his pocket, and he pulls out a wad of money like this, and starts counting it in front of everybody. Okay?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm just looking at him, I'm like, dude, you took my last $5. I said that. He's like, yeah, that was the last $5 I gave away. Now I donate to charities.
My brother was in the Bay Area going to a Home Depot.
St. Jude's, good charity.
Went across the street to a Burger King, gave himself some lunch. Saw a guy that says he was a veteran, and it looks like they had, lost legs. He was in a wheelchair, and he said he needed money for food. Well, my brother, going to Burger King, bought him some food. Goes across the street, goes to Home Depot. When he comes out, sees a guy across the street. Truck pulls up. The guy jumps out of the wheelchair. He's got legs. Folds up the wheelchair, throws it in the back of the truck, walks over into the truck, and the guy hands him a beer, and they drive off. Brother at that point
Was he a
said,
veteran? How do you know?
my brother was questioning him, and he was always avoiding.
Anything related to the war? No.
Yeah, that's
My brother has struggled a lot with financial stuff up until maybe the last 3 or 4 years. And he told me, because he knew, he lived in really shitty parts of Tracy. He said most of the beggars in Tracy are pro beggars. Like, they could work if they wanted to, but they just choose to beg.
Yeah. And that there's just people that don't understand that. And these beggars depend on people's sympathy for all this money, whereas if they just got themselves cleaned up, got access to the services that we're spending night and day to get them, into like a shelter or someplace just to clean up and have a point of that they can have mail sent to, an address.
Okay.
Get to being an active part of society. Don't be a mooch on society. And it's just that we are more willing to try to help some person that doesn't want to be helped than we are to help families and children that are, in need of help. And I just see that it's so sad, because there are a lot, like say you're talking about giving to St. Jude, a worthy charity, but the fact that so many people give to these people on the side of the street,
thinking it's charity.
thinking it's a charity, when actually they're just contributing. Now, that's not my opinion. They're just contributing to drug abuse and the homeless situation.
It's contributing to the situation.
Correct. It isn't helping.
It doesn't change it. Yeah, we had there's a couple of organized. Well, I don't know if it's proper to say, but basically there are organized beggars. Some ethnic minorities.
Oh, okay. I heard this one.
Talking about
Yeah.
the gypsies?
No,
Yeah,
the Chinese.
not the Tracy gypsies.
The Chinese
but
ones.
The gypsies in general. No, they're usually I want to say Middle East, but basically it's the lady who's sitting and has a child,
Okay.
and the child is invariably unconscious. You never see a beggar with a child that's fussy.
Oh,
Think about it. Why?
Yeah, I know what you're. Yeah.
Why? So the whole thing is apparently a scam, and that I heard of. I want to say Romanian, but like I said, I don't want to offend anybody.
Well, Tracy rents and raves, they're very specific.
Yeah, there
they say
is-
they're Romani.
Yeah, so this is different though. Those
You're
gypsies,
talking about different people.
these are just beggars in general. That it's
a common
It's a
scam.
mother and child.
Okay.
Well, they talked about that. There is a
I feel like that did help actually.
That was kind of scary, you know, because it was like, you know, it's 80 degrees out, and she's sitting on the street with the kid, and the kid is sleeping. I don't know.
Well, there is a group of bloggers. They go out of China, and one guy's from South Africa, and one guy's married to a Chinese national, and they have their stations, and they were saying their whole thing about beggars. Don't give any money to beggars, because all the beggars that they're running into are professional. And what they do, the same thing you mentioned about the mom and the little kid, they would show that they'd be on the train going from one section of China to another section of China on the train, and there would be a woman with a child there, and then when they get to a certain station, they'd get off, and another woman would come on the train, and they would hand the child over to this other woman, and the other woman would leave. And it's like, well, whose child is that? And they found out, no, the child was actually drugged.
Oh, wow.
So what it was they, after the Chinese government started realizing these professional, that they basically were running them out and arresting them, they actually imported them to like Hong Kong and parts of Manila, and they'd move them around the countries to basically make money for the crime cartels.
We went to one intersection in the Bay Area that there was beggars at every corner, and so I was driving with a friend, and the friend said he basically wanted to do a test. So we pulled up to one of the beggars, and he handed the girl, who looked, you know, pretty down and out, you know, like somebody hit her in the face with a frying pan too many times, and gave her $20.
Okay.
And so as soon as we drove off, we were watching it back, and she ran across the street, ran across into the train tracks, and gave the money to some funky looking dude back there. So they were all working the same freaking corner and funneling the money
to this guy.
Which that all works against the United States is a well-known country for being giving and generous, and that's used again. And that quality of our culture is used against us by these other countries and by these professional gangs of beggars. And I just wonder how long it will be.
Ruins it for everybody.
Yeah, I wonder how long it will be before, you know, people wake up and realize that, you
We
know,
should stop giving people who are needy stuff.
giving the people that don't want to help themselves. I mean, one of the things you always hear about nowadays is if you're going to give to a respective charity. And if you don't know the charity, and somebody calls you and you haven't called them to say, hey, I'd like to set up some time where I can, give a donation to, your charity, and they say, okay, we'll call you. If it's not that situation, don't give them, I'm donating to the police league, or I'm donating. No, you're not. You're giving it to some, false charity. So I just think people have to realize that it's not all, at face value, which is unfortunate because the nature of the U.S. culture is to give when it's what's needed, and when somebody is asking, we help. So let's get back to anime or gaming wise.
Well, we want to talk about games.
I think it's time for Stunt Dwayne again.
You have something?
It's percolating. It hasn't.
Well, there's no time for Stunt Dwayne.
I know. Oh, so, okay, let me ask you this. I guess this is my opinion. Original series of Star Trek. How many seasons?
I mean, 72 episodes.
Come out of this conversation.
72 episodes, 3 seasons, I
3
believe.
seasons. Very good. Okay, but did you know that there were 5 seasons?
Okay.
How does that work for some
How does it work for 5 seasons? Because there was a television series that was going to be coming out that was supposed to take over
Star Trek Beyond, or is it?
Correct,
Oh,
something
Star
like
Trek Continues.
Yeah.
Anyways, Star Trek Continues actually, I believe, is the one that is online, which is really good. But anyways, it was the animated series, which went for 2 seasons, had all the original character actors in
But
it.
it's not.
And it went places Star Trek could never go. Was it good? No, it was like the Wonder Twins.
What?
It was like the Wonder Twins show.
It had some good episodes.
The Wonder Twins had some good episodes?
No, I didn't say that.
Star Trek. The Star Trek animated series had some good episodes.
I always liked the idea that it took the brother and the sister, but they just seemed a little too close for me. You know, when one becomes the water and one becomes the bucket.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But
Wonder Twin powers activated. So it was in that same genre, but I always considered it like, if you wanted to watch all of the original series, watch the animated too, because there's some, it's Star Trek. What can you say? Is there bad Star Trek? Discovery.
I didn't see any.
I've only seen a couple of the episodes of the first 3 or 4 episodes of the first season. Now I'm hearing, I heard what happens halfway through the first season with them going to the mirror universe, and I'm interested in actually watching the series.
I guess I never even got that far.
Oh, dude, because you wonder, you're wondering Jason Isaac is the guy that played Malfoy's father in the Harry Potter movies.
This is not helping me in terms of Star Trek.
The movie Soldier with Kurt Russell.
Again, this is not helping me in terms of Star Trek. I don't know Star Trek. Well, you don't have to explain anything to me.
Okay, wait a minute. What actor played Captain Kirk?
John Picard.
No, I haven't.
He knows what actor played Captain Kirk.
Yeah, right.
Okay, let me ask you this then. Who is the Priceline guy?
Will Shadow.
Very good. Hey. That's good enough. Okay, but Captain Kirk. Okay.
No, we're talking in Discovery. Jason Isaac, who played a commander of the Black Ops Bureau 31.
Okay.
That was a next generation kind of a secret organization, an Illuminati organization that was working in Star Trek. They were doing all the Black Ops stuff that can't be acknowledged by the Federation because we of the Federation are the good guys.
Sounds pretty straightforward.
Oh, listen, you forgot one.
So
Just leave without it.
Star Trek is off the table then.
Why?
Because you don't want to talk about it?
You guys can talk about it. I'm just saying I'm not going to have anything to add.
No, I know that kind of.
They're like, Dwight's trying to explain it to me. I'm like, Dwight, just have a conversation. I don't know.
What about UFO? Anybody familiar with the show UFO?
UFO.
UFO.
It's not UFO. It's UFO.
UFO.
No, it's UFO. That's the English version of Thunder. No, not Thunderbirds. Aliens.
Grace?
Now it's Stunt Pat. UFO is the show where they were basically fighting Martians. Basically. Aliens. Quote unquote. from a moon.
I looked at
from a moon base.
with all the girls wearing the blonde hair.
Purple hair. No, that's how you knew they were on the moon. Because all the girls on the moon had that purple hair.
I used to watch that show all the time. Space 1999.
I know.
Have your conversation. It's okay if I'm not a part of it.
I know. We got to have the episodes running in the background when we talk about this kind of stuff. But UFO is, you know.
Actually, if it's not public domain, or our shit will get canned.
Oh, that's kind of like bombing cultural sites. That's the moral equivalent of bombing cultural sites, I guess.
What, the UFO show?
No, putting it on the background of our
Yeah,
podcast.
I guess.
Well, it's up there. Okay.
Fair use there.
Okay. Yeah, fair use says that you can do a parody of a show.
You want to do a parody of UFO?
No,
We're not doing that.
It's already goofy enough as it is.
Yeah. How can you?
Yeah, it's the original version of XCOM.
Of what?
Ooh,
X-Files?
I would buy that.
XCOM, the game. XCOM is a computer game where you're basically fighting aliens.
Oh, cool.
You never played that game?
No.
It's on Steam. I have your Steam account now. That's probably.
I have not had Steam for, I think, 20 years.
I might even have an extra copy of that one laying around because, yeah, every time when you buy the original something, right, you have.
I'm talking XCOM 2. Or
Yeah, well, yeah. What happens is when you buy the later versions, I would get the platinum pack, so you get the extra weapon, right? So you pay twice as much, you get the extra, pew, pew, pew.
Okay.
And then you're happy, right? And you get a copy of the original game. Well, so I might have things like that.
Is it going to run on Windows 10?
Yes, it's Steam. Yes.
Oh, okay. It's Steam.
It's Steam. That's the one neat thing about Steam is it's kind of like it's virtual. It's kind of like a virtual app. So it's agnostic to your computer in a way. Obviously, it interfaces. You have to have a good enough computer to run the game, but it should run on any computer.
Barry and Apple. Ooh.
We ate all the.
You ate all my sandwiches?
We ate all the sandwiches, so I just want to get that over while we're
Lemon
still,
meringue.
while we're still online. So we're doing a
I'm
podcast.
glad that you got it because I really wanted Jeff to make sure he had something.
He needed it.
He needed it. He was fading.
My stomach was hurting. Thank you.
He claimed not to know anything about Star Trek.
I don't know.
But he knew
I
that
know Captain Kirk
Captain-
is Will Shatner,
Captain
okay?
Kirk was Will Shatner.
Maybe
so
we'll
he
pass
had to-
blueberry or
Okay,
apple.
who was Spock then?
I'll take Apple.
Patrick.
John
Blueberry or apple.
I don't care.
Wasn't it Lemoyne?
No, it's he had 20 years.
Well, I know what the character looks like. I thought it was. I don't know.
Yeah, you're almost there. You're like this close.
Leonard Nimoy.
Leonard Nimoy. Okay.
God, don't help him.
Jeff.
Huh?
Mark Leonard.
Oh, okay. No.
You know?
No.
Mark Leonard. Who was Mark Leonard?
Mark Leonard is Sarek. And he played a Romulan commander.
Yes.
And
I know Will
he played
Wheaton
Spock's
was.
father.
I know Will
Yeah.
Wheaton was
So he
Wesley
had-
Crusher.
Yeah, that dude. I still want to meet that dude.
Will Wheaton?
Yeah, because he's a gamer. He's
He is a gamer.
Yes, yes.
So,
Person I'd like to meet is
Jerry Ryan.
no. Oh yeah, that'd be nice. No, was the guy who's the.
Denise Crosby.
I've already met her.
You didn't meet her?
Yes, we met her at the San Jose convention, and I was telling you we had to go to my friend's house to get the Playboy edition, where she did a Playboy edition,
Oh, I have her sign it.
and have her sign
That
it.
would be cool.
Because
I'll never wash that smack off my face.
no, see, it's like an example.
Did you get it signed?
No, because I didn't have the
I didn't have that magazine. Yeah.
and I knew that my friend had it over in Campbell, but see
The pages were stuck together.
it's been filed away.
Okay.
And the thing was that I saw her and she was there, and I was going like,
Did you just get her to sign your shirt or something, dude?
no, I don't even know if people would actually have recognized her or what she'd done if you brought her to Playboy, and have her sign it.
So we threw you off track twice. What
So-
was your original person you wanted to meet? now? Before I threw you with Denise Crosby. You said Marina Sirtis, right?
No.
No?
No, I like the girl that played Naruth in Babylon 5, who was Jakar's second command. If you ever see her in person, oh my God. I actually saw her at WonderCon in Oakland. And I walked up and I looked and I says, "You're fucking Naruth."
Did you ever see the shirt?
Huh? No. She was talking to the lady that played Yeoman Rand.
You're talking
Star Trek.
I don't even know who the fuck this is.
You know Yeoman Rand, the girl who played Yeoman Rand.
I'm trying to remember the name. Christine. No, Christine Chapel was a different character.
No, that was married to
Barb or something.
Anyway, when
now
you see her on the recent Next Generation movies, when they do Star Trek movies like Star Trek 5, Star Trek, 6, you see her and she's like in her probably 40s or 50s, and she looks kind of chunky, and she's wearing the wool outfits, and so you think, okay, that's like she's old. I saw her in person at WonderCon, and I went, wow, she's not bad looking for being the age of my mom. You know the girl who plays, Carol, you know the girl who plays Yeoman Rand on the original Star Trek?
No, she doesn't know shit about Star Trek.
I only know if I see them. I do too.
Not about
You watch your tongue,
the
man.
original series.
Okay.
The original series.
So anyway,
I don't think she's seen.
I thought if I could meet anybody, oh, that is a question. I might want to meet Lindsay Wagner.
Like romantically? Because you're smiling weird.
No, Lindsay Wagner. You know who Lindsay Wagner is, right?
Is that the Bionic Woman? Yeah.
Yes. See,
She knew that.
she knew it.
She's in the podcast. She just doesn't know. That's my wife, Carol. Yeah, you want to say wave?
Hello.
She just feeds us.
This is going back. This is a sci-fi question, but I go back to the 80s with
Carol.
Lee Majors and the $6 Million Man.
Who plays Captain Kirk?
Drew Barrymore.
What the fuck?
I want to see Drew Barrymore on the Letterman show from David Letterman's position.
Well,
He actually reminds me of you. Very good looking.
Who? David Letterman?
Kirk.
I met William Shatner dressed as Captain Kirk.
Oh, cool.
you met number 2.
Oh, that's a long story. Yeah,
Literally.
it just brings out the inner the inner imp in me, because
Tell the story since you're online.
What?
went to a Star Trek convention in Sacramento, and basically all the people that were showing up at this Star Trek convention were Next Generation. I come in, I am original series. I'm dressed as Captain Kirk. So totally out of place, granted they're Klingon Jedi, there's R2-D2s, but everybody that was Star Trek was Next Generation, because everybody that was there for the convention was Next Generation, including Jonathan Frakes, of course, and Marina Sirtis. So I'm dressed as Captain Kirk, got a gold shirt on. I walk in and I see like hundreds of people standing in line. I'm like, what do you, I walk up to an ensign, dressed in red, with the sachet on the top, and I'm like, what are you guys standing in line for? You're like giving me the cold shoulder. I'm like, what did I do? Right? He wouldn't tell me. So I go to the next guy. What are you standing in line for? Nobody told me. I got to the front of the line. And I said, what are you guys standing in line for? Oh, the dealer's room is just about to open. Oh, the dealer's room opens.
Like for poker?
No, for the dealer's room, they have all the stuff that they sell, right?
Oh, merchandise.
So 100 people, and then I'm like, oh, I just walked in because I was at the front of the line already. And so,
I'm not talking about that one.
so this was the same convention, but I had to say that part because it's so freaking funny.
Okay.
So I walked in there.
I take you back to the back of the line.
Well, I was kind of, by the time I got to the front of the line, I was a little bit pissed because nobody would tell me what they were standing in line for.
Right.
So anyways, what are you gonna do? You would have turned around and gone back 200 people and waited for them to let you in.
Of course.
Okay, great. Okay, I probably would have too, but I wasn't thinking that day.
Does this lead into your other story?
It does. So then they had the panel, and the panel was Marina Surtees and Jonathan Frakes. So I go. So I'm like, oh, so
Riker
I got
and
out.
the
Of,
counselor.
yeah, I got out of the dealer's room, and I had bought a bunch of stuff, and I had run back to my car, and I threw everything in the car. Came back just in time to get in before they started, and everybody was already sitting down, right? So I walk into the auditorium, I'm looking around, and there's just 1,000 people. I don't know, maybe 1,000 people. There's an empty section right in front. I'm like,
It was reserved, I'm assuming.
it was empty. And so I walked up to it, and it said gold section, right? It said gold section, and then right behind the gold section was the silver section. So I'm like, look at my shirt. I look at I'm like, what are they gonna do? So I sat down in the first seat I could find, the gold section. And so I sit there and I'm watching them, and they're like magic together. Frakes and Marina Surtees, magic. Just, there has to be some spark there. Yeah. And it just exuded. I mean, they just basically, they worked the audience every way upwards and down, right? Yeah. And so then they ended the show. And I just happened to be walking out the door, and I look behind me, and it's Jonathan Frakes. And he's telling his handler that he needs to go to the nearest bathroom because he has to go really bad. And so I took that instant, I don't know what got into me, but I turned around and I said, sir, and I put out my hand. I said, it's so happy to meet you. And I hold his hand, and I said, I just have some questions about the technical details of the Enterprise C. And can you just spend a minute with me? And he's like, look, he says, I'll do anything. I just have to go to the bathroom. I'm like, I said, just go. Because remember, I'm Kirk, right?
Yeah.
I had you
were done up as Kirk.
Yes.
Okay.
So
Sideburns too.
it was bad news. And then when,
So when he came out, did he come back up to you and talk to you?
no, I left. I didn't wait, but I could have waited, but I didn't wait. I had my moment.
Oh, okay.
That was enough for me. I was
Yeah.
like, okay.
But back to the thing
So he
about
probably remembers that day. He probably, I would imagine that he tells the story if you think about it. This asshole.
Way up there on the bathroom.
Well, he couldn't have known that I knew. I have that going for me. But
so when I went to WonderCon, where got to see the girl playing Ruth, got to see the lady who played Yeoman Rand. I got to see the girl that played Yvonne Cartwright, who played Batgirl from the original Batman. I was going, oh my god! I remember she was gorgeous on the television series.
Okay.
When I met her in person, I went, oh my god, what has happened? Okay, I know people get older. I know that people change. But oh my god, the kid that played Tom TV from Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory is sitting at a table right next to her, and you can almost recognize it's him. You look at her. No, Tim TV.
Oh, okay.
Bang bang with the two guns. Dad's gonna give you real guns when I get to be 16.
16, yeah.
Yes, son, I will.
Okay.
So anyway, but when I went there, the person I was going there to see, and it isn't the person I want to see, but I had just saw him, was he played one a Klingon on the next generation movies. He played in Mortal Kombat 2: The Annihilation. He played the main guy who was giving out those tattoos on the bodies so that they died, they could go back and they wouldn't die in the real world. He was supposedly the brother of a lightning guy. On
the Shao
Mortal
Kahn,
Kombat.
Shao Kahn.
Yeah, Shao Kahn. Well, the guy who played Shao Kahn, he was in Vampire the Masquerade, the series that was on Fox.
You know what? I think he's changed subjects like 15 times.
No, it's the same guy. The same guy that was in all those shows. I met the guy,
Okay.
and in all the shows, he's this big guy.
Did you get him to say finish him?
No, I did the.
Oh, come on, wait.
No, I got him to sign. Because I have an autograph of his, and I have to try to find it, and I can show you.
You got a signature finally.
I finally got a signature because I said I'll pay. He basically has all these photos, all these movies he's been in, and I'm going, nah.
Well, you picked
I
the one that
want Vampire the Masquerade, and he goes,
Oh,
you're kidding. He said, why are people asking about that? And I says, dude, I play in a LARP in Palo Alto.
You're like, have you ever heard of Grey Hawk?
I play in a LARP in Palo Alto, and I'm playing a Giovanni. In the game, he's playing a Giovanni.
Okay.
But it was bullshit. The way his version of the Giovanni were more the Bruja, but this is in White Wolf. But okay. But the thing was, I just said, dude, in this show, you were screwed over. Your whole character and all those people, all your guys, they'll be staked and meet the sun for what they did to you at the end of the show. And he's going, and I guess because I'm standing there geeking out in front of this guy that's no taller, he's maybe a little taller than you are.
And like 5'8".
Yeah, barely 5'8", probably weighs about 175.
Holy shit, this guy's so skinny.
I know, but he wasn't in his beefed out condition.
Okay.
And
how long ago was this?
This is when it was WonderCon in Oakland, so at the Marriott. I want to say 97, 98 maybe?
No, if that was Shao Kahn, he should have been hell above.
He's not that big. I was surprised. But see, the person who was standing next to him was the sidekick to Ricardo Montalban in Wrath of Khan. You are the supreme intellect.
Okay.
You know the guy that says, in Star Trek at the Con, the blonde guy.
I met Sergio Aragonis.
Oh yes, you did. We both met him.
Oh yeah.
You actually went and bought comics just so he would do a sketch on.
Well, I bought the I was okay. So basically, my friend Matt had some old Gru comics, number 1, number 2, and number 4. And I knew Sergio Aragonis was going to be there, and he left these comics in my care.
Okay.
So I went to the convention, and I brought those comics with me, so that I could have Sergio Aragonis sign the comics.
Okay.
as a favor to my friend, right? Because they would be more valuable signed. So I go there and I told him, you know, that I really enjoyed his work in Mad Magazine and his doodles and things like that. And he thanked me, and you know, he was very
polite,
demure, very what do they call that?
Low key,
Humble.
Humble, yes, very humble. And he signed everything for me, and I'm like, Jesus. And he didn't ask for anything; he just signed it. And I'm like, wow. And like, I felt bad. I said, well, I'll buy this silver comic book and have him sign that too. So, you know, that at least I was helping him out and supporting him. So I bought that book, and he said, oh, you really didn't have to do that. And I'm like, that's okay. So he took the books back and he doodled in all of them.
That's cool.
because that's well known in the Don Martin Mad Magazine comic collections.
Yeah.
One of the things is in all the spaces along the spine of the book, or you know,
the margins and stuff.
Margins. He would draw these little things, and a lot of times you were more interested in his little doodles than the comics that Don Martin was known for.
That's cool.
Yeah, he was. That he actually, for the first season of Mad TV, he was actually doing all the art when they would do fadeaways, when they go to commercial, and they would have a little cartoon. He would do those cartoons when they could do on the fadeaways.
Yeah, it was funny. What was funny about that is he asked me, you know, where he wanted me to do the duels, and I said where would, you know, put him wherever you want, and that's where he put him, was in the margins. So
yeah. So we're walking out of this convention, and here's frickin' Boomer from Battlestar Galactica, the original Boomer. So he's standing there. He's having a smoke.
Give me his Laserdisc collection.
I got it on DVD, and I got it.
Okay.
So anyway, so I'm walking by and I'm seeing him, and I'm saying, you know,
have you ever heard of White Wolf?
No. No, I said, hello, I hope you enjoy yourself. And he said, yeah, I'm having a good time. And, but I didn't want to I didn't have hardly any money.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to get into a conversation and have him expect me to be buying his pictures from T.J. Hooker. And, so I'm walking through the place, and there's a big sign, and there's some guy that's probably the size of Jason. And blonde guy, probably in his late 20s. R. Jason. Okay. And I'm seeing, I don't know who this guy is. And I go walking by, he's got this big display, and all these kids are like, oh, can you sign this? And talking to him. And I go, I don't know who the hell you are. And then I turn away, and he talks. And I go, I know that voice. Full Metal Alchemist.
Oh, okay.
The guy who's the alchemist, the main character.
Yeah, you're talking about, my brother would be getting so mad right now. I know the brother is Alfred.
Yeah, the guy in armor.
You're talking about the
guy
Full Metal guy.
Yeah, the guy loses his hand because he tries to convert to make that brother. Yeah. But I heard his voice, and I said, until I looked away and listened to his voice, I didn't know who he was. You know?
Did you get his autograph or whatever?
Yeah, just because, again, they want money.
Yes, of course.
Just coming up just to say hello. See, there was a show. It was over by where they were doing, in the middle of the place, so it wasn't kind of a major show. But there was a show, and it's one of these 60s, kind of 77 Sunset Strip kind of show that was very popular in 59 through about 63. Okay. Big time.
What year were you born?
85.
Okay.
Okay. But
okay, can we talk about something more contemporary? Like
I was
Greatest American Hero?
Oh God. Yeah.
You know what year that was?
No.
Greatest American Hero? 78, 79?
Before he was born too.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah,
Robert Call.
Yeah. So
And who was the name? What was the name of the actress
that played
that played the love interest of the Greatest American Hero?
Oh my God! I want to say Aaron Gray, but I know
No, it's not Aaron Gray. It's not Aaron Gray.
That was starred.
She was still doing English leather commercials at that time.
Oh my God!
Sounds foxy.
Aaron Gray. But keep going. Try to get her name. You look at her; she's
Wait,
gorgeous.
so the guy, I'm trying to get the guy's name, the Greatest American Hero.
I don't know.
And he's not. It's not there, which means that the leading lady I would only have slightly more interest in. And I know a lot of leading ladies' names.
You do.
But the Greatest American Hero. Ding dong. There needs to be like a time clock here so that I have pressure.
Oh, make one. Here.
God.
There, you got 1 minute.
It wasn't Linda Carter.
No.
I know that.
She was basically a no-name.
Huh? It was nobody. It was a no. Oh, it was Ray.
Huh?
Nobody.
See if this is.
The timer's not stopping, Pat.
When did it start? Oh god,
Yes,
37 seconds.
Here
No,
it is.
hang on. I got 30 seconds. Oh, you're gonna play her voice for me?
No, this is Aaron Gray.
No. That's wrong.
Okay.
God.
English
Not
leather.
Valerie Bertinelli.
Next.
We got 15 seconds,
I
boy.
know.
White shampoo. Silver spoons.
Kate something?
Kate Mulgrove? No.
No, Kate.
We got 5 seconds.
It's
You're
not
gonna be
Kate.
Dwayne stuff.
I'm dead meat, man. So what do we got to do? Oh, so what? Thank God. Okay, so what we need to do is like have something disgusting.
That's who she is.
Okay.
Yeah, that's not my tip.
That's her.
Oh, that does look like Aaron Gray.
It is her.
Oh, well, but I don't want to know Aaron Gray. I want to see the picture of the Greatest American Hero's love story.
Yeah, she's pretty good looking.
Oh! She's
You know,
hot of the 70s. She had her her English leather commercial.
I know. This is very painful to me that I don't know that.
Commercial, Bloomingdale's commercial.
He doesn't know it either.
What?
okay, but
You're admitting
that's
though-
less surprising.
I know, but you're admitting though that you don't know who it is either, right? I just want to
The
clarify.
actress? No, I don't know.
So she was a nobody in that. So that's not fair. I don't think that's fair. But I'm gonna look it up anyway because now I'm curious.
Actress in Greatest American Hero. Cast of Greatest American Hero.
Where are my cats doing right now?
You don't have them on.
Connie Selica?
Oh, yeah, that's it.
I remembered. Thanks to Google.
Yeah, what time are you talking about?
I would have never guessed that. Damn it, Wayne.
What show was she on after that show?
The Love Boat?
Hotel.
I didn't. Yeah, I was gonna say.
And the show
I was gonna
that
say the
she was
Bob
there, that was
Bob Newhart.
no, it was the guy. She was on Hotel, and the person was the guy that married Barbara Streisand.
Mm-hmm. The guy that married her, Chris Christopherson. That was one of them.
The guy's name was William Catt, and Robert Culp and Connie Selica. But William Catt was later well known for starring in all the Perry Mason, the 1990, late 80s and early 90s Perry Mason episodes.
Okay, then who? She was in another movie called.
What the hell are we doing right now?
She was in another movie called.
Playing name the
Connie
actress?
Selica was in another movie
Oh,
called
oh,
All
there we
About
go.
Christmas Eve.
Yeah, that's Connie Selica.
Do you remember that movie?
Huh?
All About Christmas Eve. Connie Selica was in that movie.
No, I never.
Who was the director of that movie? That you've never heard.
I never heard of that movie.
Peter Sullivan. Google
No.
is your friend. You know what? Here's my theory on the problem with intelligence in the computer and mobile devices. Is people are stupid. People are becoming idiots.
Correct.
It's like if you could not get to the store, if you didn't have your freaking smartphone anymore, you could not go anyplace.
Well, I mean,
we used to have
in my defense, though, like when I didn't know where a store was before I had a smartphone, I would look at the yellow pages and look at the address. I mean, it's the same fucking thing.
Look at maps.
yeah, we had Thomas guides.
Yep, Thomas guides. Most people don't remember those.
But the funny thing is I'm going to visit a friend who's been living at this house for a long time, and I'm like, well, okay, I'm on this corner and I'm headed east. How do I get to your house? Couldn't tell me how to get to their house because they Googled it. They used the what is it, TomTom thing?
Yeah.
And it's like you couldn't tell me how to get to your own house.
Yeah.
I feel for people, but because my house, to get to my house, you had to go down 6 streets, and all the streets had 2 names, like Robert Gabriel. So it was very difficult to tell people to get to my house. But yeah, I just think that people are getting too reliant on computer intelligence.
Yeah.
And losing their own mental capacity. So idiocracy theory.
Yeah, I mean,
You don't think it has to do with all the?
Sensory overload.
I don't want to say that. All the
Technology, advances in technology.
How do I explain this? All the me part of social media,
yes.
all the duck facing, all the filters,
Yeah, it's like
all the making yourself look more like plastic because I guess looking like a doll is more attractive than looking like a person.
yeah,
And to focus on that instead of things like using an app.
yeah, exactly. Personal interaction, how to deal with people on an interpersonal relationship.
You mean on public forum comment threads?
Well, you try to deal with people the way you deal with them online, because that's what you're used to.
Yeah, because you're trying not to. You're trying to interact with somebody without interacting with them.
Yes.
You know.
Will something happen to your arm? Or is that just from resting at the table?
What?
Right there, like a line.
Yeah, it's resting on the table.
Oh, okay.
He's actually a puppet.
I mean, he does talk about White Wolf and Greyhawk a lot.
He's a puppet of the old world.
It's just because, see, in one aspect, you don't play a lot.
I'm sorry.
You don't play, or you haven't played a lot of RPG games.
It's fair, okay.
But you've played a significantly larger range of video games than I have.
Yes.
So one of the aspects that I had posted, I think I had posted it online about, was about you you collecting different game systems so that you can review different products, be it like
I mean, most of the
on like the Sega Master System playing
new
Phantasy Star.
systems release old popular games for mobile systems now. It's not the same thing as playing on it, I know, but
So yeah, that was what I was saying. Is going around when I saw
like Sid Meier's Civilization 26, which is the exact same game as Civilization 1 with different models.
okay.
Yeah, he's done that game. It's on number 6. It's not 26 yet, but I figure eventually it'll
But-
get there.
it's the one that's when I brought up the question about I saw a Sega CD at Superior Thrift,
I
and
mean, my brother might like to do that. He's just kind of a game hoarder.
because it's all the old technology. Like I have a Dreamcast at my house.
Oh, that was a sad system, man.
It was good back in the time.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
best football game in out there.
They didn't know what they were doing with that. That was the problem.
Yeah, so it was just wondering if you were. That's why I gave you that Sega Genesis
Yeah.
Because if you want to play a Genesis cartridge, you have now got a Genesis system. If you want to play
You have
a
a Genesis
PS,
system?
yeah, I just
gave
gave
me
one.
one. I don't know how to
Well, I'll
hook
have
it
to
up.
dig around and see if I have any cartridges, because I have like cartridges. I have Pokemon Yellow cartridge for.
That's not for Sega.
No, I know it's for Nintendo, but it's supposedly those are worth money.
Yes, they are. If it works anyways. I'm assuming it's not sealed in its package.
Oh, if it was,
Yeah, we're gonna collect
a
it.
lot of money.
Yeah, we had the old Atari 2600 back after we traded in our Pong machine. So
Yep.
and
Dude, they're so expensive.
yeah.
Freaking 2600 was $124
So
to
it's
buy.
2600, and so basically the idea was that not everybody could buy every game because they were still like $20 a cartridge, even
Yeah.
though.
Then after that, you had the 5200. The 5200 came out.
Yeah. So
And
we,
then after Sega, it was Sega
so
Saturn.
I was probably 11, 12 years old. So we traded cartridges. You know, like
Yeah, I remember that. Like,
Yeah.
instead of buying games, we just traded games.
yeah,
to
you
each
traded
other.
cartridges. So yeah, like you traded cartridges. So next door neighbors had his Genesis, so or Atari, and we had Genesis too, but did Atari traded cartridges with them. Well, they bring back the
Bomberman.
cartridges and they wouldn't work. He's like, you gotta fucking bring it back and it won't work, right? I'm like, what the hell? So like little kid Marcel, that's his name Marcel, the family French. Kid comes over and we're like, hey man, you know, you took the cartridge, you brought it back and it doesn't work, right? And so he picks it up, he pulls it out of the machine,
Blows on
he
it.
pulls it over and goes, and then sticks it back in the machine and God knows it freaking worked. And I'm like,
He blew on it.
he slobbered all over
Oh,
it.
that's why it's not working. Like, blowing on cartridges, that was pretty common knowledge, was spinning all over it.
That was his way of blowing into it. He ended up, I like pulled it back out. I'm looking at it, there's like gobs of spit all over it. I'm like, now we know
it's not working.
why it didn't work when he took it. But
Not to give him a cartridge.
yeah, but it did work. Weirdly enough, it just, I guess, probably shorted out enough circuits that the cartridge worked. We had the game, and you probably played the game Adventure.
Yes.
You know, one of the original cartridges was Adventure. You were a little block.
Okay.
With an arrow sticking out.
And into the block is like your character. And then all you did was walk around these blocks.
Sounds like an adventure.
Yeah, and so what we did, so then they had hidden rooms, they had secrets that nobody knew about.
You just had to play the game and fuck around and find
Yeah,
out.
exactly. There were hidden rooms and just whole areas where it would have in text, welcome to our, I forget what it said. But anyways, hidden rooms. So
Well, that's why, because we played Adventure on ColecoVision.
yeah, no, this was Atari, definitely, yes. So what we did was you would tweak the cartridge a little bit while the game's running, and actually it would do other weird shit where you could bypass walls and things like that. That I don't know, somehow it worked. It was kind of like the old cable TVs where you had 13 channels, and if you wiggled the channel, you get the tweener channels that you're not supposed to get. Yeah, this is the way. So some of those
This
channels.
is how bored you guys got.
Some of those channels were like Showtime and HBO and
Skinamax.
well, they were basically back then they were basically mostly rated R stuff. So you wiggle the knob on your cable box to
Pointless,
get it
like,
to
I've
play
never thought about
to
this
get it to
before.
play channels that you couldn't get. So we had a cable box. Basically, what you had was you had a cable box and there was two cables coming in because back then the bandwidth was so high, the signal strength was so low and the bandwidth was high. So I guess that makes sense. So they had two cables that would carry, one would carry 13 channels and the other one would carry a couple, 13 more. There was more. UHF was a little higher frequency, so they could put more channels on it. So, everybody had a cable box. Well, we messed with ours so much. I was thinking, well, if we can wiggle it and get the tweener channels to come in.
When you
Then,
start switching the cables and shit.
then we could just pick it up and drop it a few times. And we got the thing to unlock all the channels.
Wow, from dropping it.
Just from brute force, beating the crap out of it, and we did and it was and it unlocked all of the premium cable channels.
This is our video editor. by
And
the way.
so, yeah, I know. This is back in the day where people had bootleg satellites on their roof.
Okay.
Basically, you'd go into
Put a lock
Chinatown,
on.
you'd buy and you would steal the satellite signal, because when you pointed your dish at that satellite, it was non-encrypted. It was just basically a broadcast, just like the just like the TV broadcast. So we got this box completely unlocked, and we weren't paying for those channels. And then they came along, and of course, technology means we needed an upgrade. And said, "We need your box back." We're like, "What box?" And so we got them convinced that we didn't have the box, so we could keep it. It worked for about 2 years after that. And then finally everything went digital and that box gone, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, that was the early days.
That's when when cable television, about 2004, 2005, when cable television went to the PUC, and that's the Public Utility Commission, and they basically cried and said that we want to offer better packages and better services to our customers. The problem is the system is analog, not digital. So we want to basically,
anybody can plug into it. TV.
So we want to basically give higher grade system, but the investment that we're giving is going to be so expensive that it's prohibitive unless we have a way to guarantee that the people that are getting our services are paying for our services. And they said, well, how are you to do that? I said, well, if it's made as a requirement that every single TV that's plugged into the cable has to be run through a box.
Digital converter.
And unless you do that, you don't get the chase. Because in the past, you would just have a room that have a coaxial cable in the wall, and you plug in your cable. Now, you didn't get hardly anything. Maybe you got 13, 14 channels.
But
Depends on your TV.
But it's free. And you got them for free. But because you were paying for the main box, having cable come into your house, so you were paying for it already, but because you didn't have a box connected to it, you only got a couple of the stations. Well, now they want you to pay, they want you to pay for every single TV in your house has to have a box on it.
We had a cable going from our house to the neighbor's house.
Yeah.
Were they happy about that?
Yeah, they didn't have the cable, so we.
Until you get the guy comes by with the little two antennas, and they look at your cable, and then they zoom up and they say, hey, why has this person got cable? And it doesn't have cable. And does he have cable in the system? No, he doesn't. Okay, he's stealing it for somebody. And then they come in and they just find out because they were
going after the satellites because they were easy to spot. Well, we extended. I learned the limits to coax networking by how many TVs I could plug into one cable with a splitter.
How many?
We got to 7, but
Holy
to do that,
shit.
I needed one splitter and one repeater. So we had 5 TVs downstairs on one splitter, 4 TVs downstairs, and the one that had the highest resistance we pushed upstairs, plugged in a repeater, which basically is powered so that it takes a signal coming in, strengthens it, and sends it down the wire. And it was in the attic, in the far end of the attic. We had to put it.
Why was it in that? It's like, how often was that watched?
Upstairs TVs?
In the attic.
No. TV wasn't in the attic, the repeater was in the attic.
Oh, okay.
But to get there, we had to climb up the ceiling and then crawl across the top of the house and then reset that box, basically, if it went down. So one time the box went down, and so I sent my brother.
The last you ever heard from
I sent my brother up there. My brother is bipolar. And
Now, because of
no, he's bipolar. He was always, well, he wasn't always bipolar, and he probably wasn't bipolar then. I sent him up there, and I'm like, hey, dude, I'm tired today. I need you to go up there and reset the thing so I can watch TV in bed. He said, no, come on, do it. All right, do it. So I lived in one room, and I lived at my parents' house with my brothers, my wife, and my son, who was in the room opposite us. And my brothers would always pick on Justin, and so they didn't have the best relationship. So my brother goes up, he's crawling across the roof, he gets to the far end where the repeater is and slips, falls, his ass goes through the ceiling. The sheetrock on the ceiling. And so what I heard was, I'm sitting in my room and I'm thinking, I know my brother's right over above my head. And I hear this slip, and I hear a crack, and I hear a boom. And I hear my son yelling, "Daddy, get your ass out of my room." And I'm like, what the hell's going on? So I get up and I run in there and I look up, and sure enough, his ass was hanging out on the floor in my room, in my son's room. And I'm like, oh shit! So I'm like, getting a stick and like I'm trying to push it back up. But I can't forget my son. He's like, he didn't care that he fell on the roof.
You just care his ass was in it.
His ass was in it. I could tell another story about asses.
But it's 11 o'clock already, so.
Can I tell one more?
All right.
You'll like this one because it's very reminiscent of the 70s. It's a two-story house, my old house, and I had a friend named Gene, and he was really Dan's friend, but Gene. And what we used to do is we would get cardboard, and we would ride the cardboard from the top of the stairs to the bottom.
Did the same thing.
So we're like, okay, this is pretty cool. So this is during the 70s, and so we're riding down the stairs and showing Gene, hey, how cool it is, how fun it is. And he's like, no, I can't, I want to try it, I don't want to do it. Like, oh, come on, and of course, you ask somebody enough times and they're going to do it. So
double dog dare you.
Yeah, he's like, okay, so he tries riding, and we told him, grab the front of the box, don't let go, pull up, and no, he forgot the pull up part. So he starts down the stairs and goes into a tumble, and he hits the wall. Butt first. He was a hole about this big. Now, my mom, she was kind of, I don't want to say spastic, but high strung. And
your mom is high strung.
Yeah,
She's not high strung anymore.
Yeah, I know, because she doesn't have to deal with this anymore. And she has 3 kids, so I'm like, oh shit, mom's gonna see this and she's gonna tell dad. Now there's only one thing worse than pissing off mom. It's mom pissing off dad. And so we were scared shitless of him. So we're like this big hole. So I'm like, okay. Now there's 3 boys. I'm like maybe 10 years old. We put a lot of holes in walls. Okay. And we watched dad fix a lot of holes. Okay. So we're like, oh, we know what to do. I know exactly what to do. We're going to go out, we're going to get some spackle, and we're going to cover the wall, and they'll never know. They'll never know what happened.
No, they're not going to be able to tell the difference in color.
They'll never know. Well, it was a white wall, so I like get out there and I'm like trying to put the pieces that are broken back together. And I even had a hanger because I saw him use the hanger to pull from the back end. And then you put everything together, you spackle it, and then you clip the hanger off and you push the thing through and spackle the little hanger hole. Great, but we only had 2 hours. So the drying part was a little, wasn't a lot of time to dry. So I got it fixed. But there was about a gallon of spackle fell between the walls while I was trying to fix it. So all the spackle gone. And the hole was, obviously there. So I'm like looking around. Dad's gonna be home any minute, and Mom's gonna.
But he wouldn't care that you tried to fix it.
No. So I'm looking around, and Mom's got this macrame owl hanging on the wall. It's about a macrame is. You know what macrame is? Basically, it's tweed, intertwined tweed. And
yarn, it's tied yarn in patterns.
And so it's
like
a big
weave,
giant
like
owl.
weaved.
It's a big giant owl, and it's got a stick on top to hold it up.
Like a tapestry.
Yeah, like a tapestry. And it was hanging on the wall over here, and I'm like, I got this. I took the macrame wall off the wall, I moved it over to this wall, and I nailed it up, covering the hole. Cover the hole. About 3 weeks goes by. I'm like, she didn't notice it. We moved the macrame owl from this wall to this wall. We're like, this is done, right? And
then she figured
the macrame owl fell off the wall. And she was livid. She's like, "What's this? It's a big hole. And look at this. It's a big mess. And you guys made a huge." And she's like, "What happened?" And she says, "What is that?" And I said, "Well, that's Jean's butthole."
This whole story, just so you can say that.
Okay.
But yeah, Jean's butthole. Kill the beef. It's a wrap.
So we're gonna continue this tomorrow. Yes.
Well, we're not continuing this, but we're going to do another podcast tomorrow, and that's going to be
Gamma World?
Gamma World game. Yep.
Oh, that's not really
And basically, we have a tendency of rambling.
No.
Yes. Occasionally, Jeff will, how would you say, guide us to not ramble as much. But as you can probably already see,
you're rambling. What are you trying to say?
Yeah, you're really beating around the bush here.
What are you trying to say, Dwayne?
I'm trying to say that you're learning well, young Padawan.
Yes, we are.
And we'll cut it at that.
We're elucidating you on many subjects that your mind would not otherwise be privy to.
Are you talking about the Star Trek stuff? Because I didn't absorb any of that.
You do. Well, who is
subconsciously?
I already knew who Captain Kirk was.
Or did you think you did?
No, who Will Shatner is, dude.
You are just a young Padawan, Jeff.
Who's the hot chick in Star Trek? Yeoman Rand.
I don't know.
I don't either. I should know that.
Yeah.
What the hell is with this Dell command update?
Yeah, it wants to run all the time.
Why?
Because the computer says it needs to be updated. It's probably, there's an NSA security patch out right now.